It says I'm live. Great. This is crazy. Okay. Hello, everybody. Round 2, same Friday, 7 o'clock here in California. I'm doing my Friday live. Now it's episode 13 because I just did episode 12, 10 minutes back or 1 hour back. And I'm not going to give up today because I'm going to make Zoom connect to my YouTube and my LinkedIn and my live stream server that I'm using, restream.io, and make it work. I'm not going to bed today without it working. Okay, so here we are, Sudha Live, and here I am excited to share AI opportunities with you. And the fun part of all this frustration today is that I get to share fun videos with you and opportunities with you twice instead of just once. So this week, the big thing is we went on a KiwiBot tour. So let me share my screen and you will see the video. Then I'll run it. So this is San Jose, North 2nd Street, and here in California. Look at the expression. KiwiBot team has built the cutest robot, and with a lot of social engineering, they have an anthropologist in the team, and is delivering boba for us. And not just for us, it's delivering it for Susanna, our AI ethicist. I have a video of Susanna happily picking up the boba. I have to show this to you. This will not be complete. Today's session will not be complete unless you see Susanna actually picking up the boba. Let's see. So should order the boba. So KiwiBot has actually gone from just an app delivery. Look at her. She's our AI ethicist. You must have heard her at Weekly Wednesday. And she has data bias and mitigation. It's her specialty. It's beautiful. So why am I so excited about it? Of course, I chase everything that's autonomous. And so, it makes sense that I'm excited. But 10 of my student alums joined me this week. And we went to KiwiBot right here in downtown. And the reason we went is because we went on a KiwiBot tour to go visit them, not just as yet another startup from Silicon Valley, but as a company who's obviously got an autonomous vehicle tech. It's level 3, but they've made the transition from delivering 80,000 deliveries of food in University of Berkeley. Now they've expanded to many more universities. So it's a B2C model, right? When you get an app and you say, deliver this to my house, like I get from DoorDash, it looks like a B2C model for me as a customer. But what they've done, they've switched to a B2B model. So now they've got an API and they're partnering with all kinds of coffee shops. So we went to Paper Moon Cafe in San Jose to get our bobas. So we went and visited KiwiBot team, and we saw a whole bunch of different generation of KiwiBots. So we learned about the computer vision and perception space and the technology. But what fascinated me was how they've meticulously worked on the user experience of the bot itself, of the delivery bot itself, robot, the user experience of who is their customer profile, how they've changed and how they've kind of adapted. So they've done integration with Instagram and Shopify to create this B2B model experience. So that's fascinating for me. And then they're using mobility data service, the MDS standard. We've spoken about this in our AV data class. They're using that standard to share data with the city of San Jose. The MDS standard was created by city of LA to ask for shared mobility companies like scooters to share data, transactional data with the city, so that they can use the data to see, okay, where the sidewalk ends, where the repairs are needed, or where these bikes are thrown around and the like. But then they could do a lot more urban planning if city had the data. So it is a good partnership. I'm very fascinated by how KiwiBot is building this as what they call as a socially acceptable robot, because if you remember in my AV classes, I've been talking about consumer adoption is number one, business model is number two, technology comes behind that, and they've got all three. And they're focusing on business model evolution. They're very metric driven. They're trying to reduce the cost per mile. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what their number is for them, but they've done a fantastic job on what the cost of delivery per mile is. My students were very fascinated, and the AI aspect of it is in the computer vision, but I am very fascinated because they have so much data that they're working with the city and how they're data driven in their approach. So I'm going to partner with them to bring that as one of my live lab classes. So I promise you there's an announcement coming. I've been saying I'm getting the fall catalog at businessschoolofai.com. So if you go to businessschoolofai.com and click on this big red button, which says fall catalog is ready, it will take you to a page where it shows the fall catalog, and it actually gives you a high level view of the catalog. And I will email you because I'm very respectful of privacy and GDPR and all the like. I do not want to be sending anything to anybody if that's not what you want. So if you're just coming and talking to us as fellow students to be part of Weekly Wednesday, that's fine. You don't need to know about any other thing, and you can just come and learn the reality of what's happening in industry. So I'm going to show you what our fall catalog looks like. So our classes are starting on 7th, and I have 5 classes. Everything is 6 weeks, 1 hour per week. Sometimes if it's a live lab, there might be a 90-minute class, and you might finish the class, the overall series in much sooner. So you should expect to spend about 10 hours total for the class for each course, 6 hours live hours. So, and registration will open tomorrow. I'll be telling you if you've expressed interest. That's how I'm planning. This is a team of one of my students, and you'll see a lot more of my students and speakers in here. This picture here is today's KiwiBot recording. So it's not just the live lab. David Rodriguez, head of business for KiwiBot, came and spoke at the Stanford class. He was back at Weekly Wednesday. So that's the recording that Ananias put out for us on YouTube. So check it out. Okay. And what we are doing is, with the fall courses, we are going to focus on data science for business users. You don't need to know Python or any kind of coding. We're going to use no code AI. Not going to just teach you some tools, but we are going to teach you how to do that, right? How do you go about building technology with that, right? How do you build AI solutions with that and go solve a real business problem? So there's going to be one course called No Code AI, Data Science for Business Users, and 3 courses which are live labs, all 6 weeks, and you will actually go online with a multidisciplinary team of students, professionals like you, and learn to do machine learning, computer vision, or NLP, natural language processing, one of the 3 you'll pick, and solve a real business problem with real business problem, with real business partner, real business data, guided by me and amazing instructors. So, and then we have an AI ethics course coming up. This time we are actually going to be focusing on here. If you can see the details of that. You can see AI ethics. We are going to focus on responsible AI and inclusive AI. And I have an amazing speaker and instructor joining us. I'm not at liberty to tell you yet, but wait for it. Okay. And if you're interested in NLP, Sam Wigglesworth is going to join us to teach that live lab course. So I'm super excited about that. I thought I had a picture of Sam here, right here. The last round, we had Diavin from Amazon speak to us as a masterclass. Susanna Raj, our AI ethicist, who was happily picking up the boba, was teaching last time. She'll be joining us again. Sam is going to do NLP webinar at Weekly Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So be sure to join us on the 18th. If you miss it, we can always get to the recording. And then she's going to come and teach the live lab. So you can actually go through, using a no-code AI platform, go through the whole experience, build NLP, and understand the various business applications of NLP in customer service or marketing or various areas of application. But it's about customer and interpreting documents and sentiments for a computer to make sense of it, to triage different situations. So the easiest way to think of NLP is either a voice assistant or a chatbot, but it's more than a chatbot. So you'll go through the whole experience. So that's what we're doing. So if you go down the page, there's a form. These are my students. I'm happy to cheer for them. Nyan has actually created, our intern has created a beautiful montage with our our weekly Wednesday audience here. So fill in this form and we'll send you the details of the curriculum. That's what I'm going for. I don't want to be sending each course what the 6 weeks syllabus looks like and the like. In the data science course, I can tell you it's true data science. So you learn machine learning, deep learning, supervised and supervised learning, various different algorithms, what it means, what are the applications, what are the nitty-gritties of building with them, what are the what is the life cycle, AI life cycle, what does it look like? And you learn all that in English. No Python, no R, nothing. And you'll be able to go and confidently go build that and bring that innovation to your companies. There might be AI ethics intertwined. I'm trying to do that with all my courses. But then if you want to know what is responsible AI or inclusive AI, you can just take that course. But I'm not, I don't have details on that. I have the recording version from the last round. And then all the previous classes, my AV classes and AIX design, the previous version of AI ethics or the capstone live lab that we did, all of that is available as just on demand recording. If you don't have time for live class, no problem, you can just do that. So that's our plan. Other than that, the interesting thing is there was another self-driving vehicle that was launched. It was more a bus that you see at Colorado School of Mine. So if from Easy Rides, if that's interesting, check it out. If if you see it, and I might visit Colorado just for that. But if you want to tell me about it or share an experience with it, or if you work in that area, I would love to find out more. And then another interesting thing that happened is the European Union has come up with their draft AI regulation, and McKinsey has this fantastic article analyzing what it means. And for me, the most important thing that I keep talking in my classes is don't think of just AI regulation risk and then say regulation doesn't concern me, I'm building tech, or it's for certain industries. Certain industries like finance and healthcare are used to compliance, and they're going to comply with regulation with AI. Certain industries, it is very mission critical. It's a life of death decision if it's robotic surgery or a self-driving car in transportation. So regulation becomes important. In certain industries, it's not as mission critical. So when you're building AI, and if it has and all AI has this AI confusion matrix of false positive, false negative, then think about what kind of performance level matters. What is your role if you're a business person, data owner, product manager, UX designer, any of the roles, right? What is your role in deciding what kind of performance is acceptable? What questions do you ask? What data do you use to test this out? So recently had this discussion of the Uber driver who was fired because the facial recognition system did not recognize them after multiple attempts. And Uber system concluded that they were giving their Uber app to somebody else, and that was against their terms of service. And in fact, this person was person of color, and Face API from Microsoft was used by Uber, and it did not recognize this person. So there are two things. One, when you look at these news articles, think about your role, right? Don't think about just if you're thinking about this as, hey, if I'm Microsoft, I work in Microsoft. I'm just saying, if you work in Microsoft and if you work on Face API, here's an opportunity for you to see that your data that was used for training was biased, and there's an opportunity to go fix it. Otherwise, it's unethical. And if you are working in Uber, somebody decided on the Microsoft Face API over other facial recognition algorithms out there. What decision was made? What kind of data could they have used to go check what was the recall and precision of this algorithm? Who did that? How did they do that? And then somebody built a layer of a machine learning engineer with a PM, built an app layer and said, here we are going to use facial recognition for identification. And after 3 attempts or 5 attempts, we will put this person out because they are using, the assumption is that they are giving the app out to somebody if there was a false negative. That was what was not acceptable. So if this person ends up suing Uber, is Uber at fault? Is Microsoft at fault? How does that cascade of blame pass down? Because this AI is not explainable, because AI doesn't know what data it was used to train itself. Microsoft is not going to be able to produce what data it was used to train this version of AI. Uber is not going to know that. It's a black box. So that's where you come in. data is your power. Data is the language you talk to AI. So when you're reading this EU regulation draft framework, it looks like we got GDPR setting a standard. It looks like that could be creating a standard, and we could be using that, right? So think about that. I would say that is your opportunity to actually go and do something with it. Think about your role and how would you create new opportunities to get into this field of AI. If you're looking at regulation, don't think about the regulation is about a legal regulation. I'm not a lawyer, or if I'm a lawyer and that's what my role is, but think about your role when technology is built, when technology is bought, when technology is deployed, when AI is in the game. And the only way you can actually prove a point, think about your customer. That's why I got excited about KiwiBot, because they made the transition B2C to B2B. They had served the community well with Berkeley, because when one of the KiwiBots blew up, the Berkeley community came and did a vigil for it. No joke. So they were serving their customers, and they adapted, and they got the customers to go with them to make the transition. So I would say, when you're thinking about your role in AI, think of the customer. Make sure the customer is served. That means you mitigate bias by making sure all the customers are served well. And if they're false positive or false negative, there is going to be, because AI is predictive, then think about your role and how you're going to mitigate that bias, how you're going to challenge the vendor and make sure that bias is fixed. So that's how I'm thinking about it. So with that, it's a wrap. Hopefully I'm seeing a live streaming thing going on, so somebody is watching this other than my usual people. So and this should get recorded and shared if you're missing it, and maybe if you're watching this at a later time, I'm happy to follow up. And so watch the YouTube recording of David Rodriguez Weekly Wednesday about KiwiBot's business model and the evolution. If you're looking at understanding AI regulation, check out the McKinsey article. Did I share that screen with you? So that is right here. Let me go back. So this is from McKinsey. It's called What the Draft European Union AI Regulation Means for Business. And they have a downloadable option for all their articles. I quote a lot of them. I have no affiliation, but this is good. And in fact, one of my students, Usha Srinivasan, who's been a speaker on our Weekly Wednesday, recently joined McKinsey. So I don't know if she's behind this, but she's going to bring awesome stuff, and McKinsey was smart to hire her. So congratulations, Usha. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. If you're interested in Weekly Wednesday, to go to Business School of AI and just click on Weekly Wed. And you'll find us, and you'll get access to all the archives of past speakers, past amazing students of mine. And if you're interested in if you're interested in learning data science, or just thinking about what's your path to AI should be, I have some videos I can send you that your way, but I want you to think about, what do you want to do? Where are you going? Make sure I do not believe in people taking a pay cut. You have to leverage your past experience and be able to make a transition, because that's the value you bring. So talk to me. And if you're interested in the No Code AI data science course, or any of the 3 labs, or you're interested in the AI ethics class, I'm happy to send you the catalog. I'm happy to talk to you, and hope you have a fantastic weekend. And I will see you next week. And be sure to come for Sam Wigglesworth's NLP webinar on Weekly Wednesday, 9 a.m. our Pacific time, 18 hours in Nigeria and Europe, and 1 p.m. in Brazil. And it's an international group. It's fun. Just come and we'll go deeper, understand the depths of tech in English or Spanish, and then we'll go high up and understand the business challenges, business model, consumer adoption, user experience, all the other stuff that happens. But with NLP, you learn how to build NLP, that various different applications of NLP. You've heard from Ken Herron from UIB talk about NLP, and they kind of created the space. But Sam is going to go one step, with no code. How do you go build that? And so it's going to be fun. So with that, I will see you next week, and do stay in touch and stay safe. Bye.